Ready? I got it. We got it. You want it back? Jennifer grabbed it. Yeah. No, I'm calling it good. I call this meeting to order.
Here.
Councilman Jonathan Heisey,
Present.
Councilman Rob Jones,
Here.
Councilman Ron Cardwell,
Here.
Councilman Matthew Myers,
Here.
Mayor Kurt Mayab.
Here, if you'd stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Piedmont Road,
You'd stay standing.
also gray color, retaining wall. It's going to be an elderly female with airbags deployed, running fire as well.
Bow your heads for me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, Lord. We would ask that you just be with our emergency management right now, Lord, and help them whichever way they're going right now. Be with the family that's in that car wreck, Lord. Lord, we just we ask that you be with the council tonight and help us make the greatest decisions for our city moving forward. Lord, we thank you for the blessings that you've given us to this point, Lord, and excited to serve you, God. In your glory name. Amen.
Amen.
Perfect time for that. Bigger fly. Item number 4, presentation, proclamation, and appointments. Mr. Williams, this is going to be you.
So tonight we're swearing in Dr. Brian Schlomock again for serving Ward 5 and also Mr. Rob Jones for service in Ward 3. And so they ran uncontested this last election, but tonight they're going to take the oath of office again. So you gentlemen, let's go up. Oh, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Byron Schlomock,
Robert Jones. Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear that I will support.
that I will support,
Obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States, obey and defend the Constitution of the United States,
And the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma.
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma, and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
And that I will not knowingly,
and I will not knowingly
receive directly or indirectly,
receive directly or indirectly
any money or other valuable thing,
any money or other valuable thing
for the performance or non-performance
for the performance or non-performance
of any act or duty pertaining to my office,
of any act or duty pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation allowed by law.
other than the compensation allowed by law.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
my duties as councilman to the best of my ability.
my duties as councilman to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys. Presentation OACP and the OLEAP.
I always get to adjust the microphone. So, good evening, and thank you for allowing me to appear before your council today. My name is Kevin McCullough, and I serve as the program specialist for the Oklahoma Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission. I also serve on the executive board of the Oklahoma Association of Chiefs of Police. The Oklahoma Law Enforcement Accreditation Program provides Oklahoma law enforcement agencies with an avenue to demonstrate that they meet commonly accepted standards and best practices for efficient and effective operations. Law enforcement executives who seek accreditation under our program have had their written policies, procedures, and operation evaluated to ensure they meet all statutory requirements and national best practices. The program is endorsed by the Council on Law Enforcement Education and Training, the Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group, the Oklahoma Municipal League, and the City Management Association of Oklahoma. I'm here this evening to recognize the City of Piedmont, Police Chief Shane Clark, Accreditation Manager Lieutenant Bruce Manis, and the members of the Piedmont Police Department. So, Chief, if you could come up here, and I know the Lieutenant is taking care of some business. So, Deputy Chief, could you come on up? Chief Clark elected to participate in the verification program and the smaller agency accreditation program just recently. Within the verification program, the agency policy and procedures are evaluated to ensure they comply with all statutory requirements for a municipal police department. Within the accreditation program, the agency's policies, procedures, and the full operation is evaluated to ensure they not only meet the statutory requirements for a police department, but they observe standards and best practices for agencies their size. Of the nearly 600 Oklahoma law enforcement agencies, only 47 have been recognized as verified agencies, and only seven out of 600, nearly 600, have reached the status of smaller agency accreditation. The Piedmont Police Department is a member of both of the elite groups, verified agencies and accredited small agencies. So it's because of the agency's dedication and commitment to professionalism that I'm honored to present Chief Clark and Lieutenant Manis in absence with the Leadership Award and the Piedmont Police Department with their award of accreditation.
One more time.
Does he want to accept that for Bruce? He takes all Bruce's work.
Yeah, one more.
Oh,
No, you stay
is
this
this my meeting or yours?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Can we go on?
No, I got 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Now, yes, I'm there. I'm taller than you, Kevin. Barely. Now, Mayor, Council, we appreciate the recognition tonight. Thank OACP and the Oklahoma Law Enforcement Accreditation Program for being here. This doesn't belong, oh man, I'm a terrible public speaker. I'm gonna cry like it's a funeral. The accreditation doesn't belong to me. It belongs to those guys in the corner. They're the reason we're standing here tonight. They put in the work day in and day out. What it means for the community is simple. It means we're operating under the best practices. It means we're held accountable. It means when
and I got bifocals this week, so y'all have to bear with me. It means when someone calls on their worst day, they're getting a professional, consistent response. For us, it's not the finish line, it's just the benchmark. We're gonna keep building on what we've got and continue improving on how we serve this community. So thank you.
Good job.
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, another photo walk, actually have you guys in the background with the police officer.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on.
Y'all can go back here. Police officers, you'll come up here in front.
We'll throw this out to the side.
You want us up front? Okay.
Unless you guys can all fit back there.
Oh, they could probably stand
We could, yeah.
Let's do it.
We are. We're needy.
Oh, yeah, y'all get. Tall guys on the edge.
Here, I come in.
All right, cool.
Can't wait now. And then somebody probably just switch me out.
I didn't switch in.
Yeah, that's right.
I think these are new chairs, aren't they? I haven't ended up on the floor yet.
All right, moving on. Presentation by Community Development and Councilmember Matt Myers on the educational trip for a data center.
Good evening. This presentation is about the data center site visit that one council member, Matthew Myers, two staff members, myself, I'm Julie Steele with the Community Development Department, and Kelly Deathridge, our city planner. We went to Atlanta, Georgia to do research on a data center. On Thursday, we went to a QTS data center. On Friday, we met with Beltline Energy and we did a site visit and a tour. So on the QTS data center, just to be clear, this is not a Beltline facility. We were there unaccompanied and we were there to do our own research of our own accord. So this facility, from the research that I did, is over 100 acres. It's 495,000 square feet. It was built in 2 phases. It serves large-scale enterprises, government, and AI infrastructures. It is surrounded by commercial. There was a gym, restaurants, outdoor recreation with pickleball courts. There was a residential next to it with single-family dwellings and duplexes, and Fulton County Jail. It was in Midtown. So we interviewed residents there. We walked around the perimeter of the entire facility. We were there for about 3 hours from approximately 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., knocking on residential doors and talking to residents on the walking trail and sidewalks. So if you can see the pictures, the one on the left is Kelly walking down the sidewalk. The data center is on the left, and there are residential homes on the right side of the street. Those are the doors that we knocked on. The picture on the right is another home on that same street. The next slide shows more residential homes on that same street. The picture on the right, you can see Councilman Myers interviewing a resident in front of the data center. One more slide of pictures. On the left is Kelly Deathridge, our city planner, walking on the walking trail, interviewing a resident who's walking their dogs. On the right-hand side, more dwellings. We did community engagement from that and interviewed all those residents. And this is the list of pros and cons, the results of that community engagement. The pros were infrastructure improvements by the developer. There were no complaints about noise or ambient lighting. Some of the people didn't even know it was a data center. A couple of the people knew it was a data center and didn't have any complaints. And the other pro was the conservation easement and the walking trail that was next to it. Now, the cons were it took 4 years to build, and during that time, there was a lot of construction noise and construction traffic. The developer promises unfulfilled. The developer agreed to put in low-income housing, townhomes, and mixed-use buildings, and it wasn't done yet. So as part of our research, we contacted the Community Development Department with the City of Atlanta, and she stated that they were in the process of those developments. The location was also a con, as it was right in the middle of Midtown. Next is, I just want to give you some of our photos from the facade from the QTS data center. Again, it was in the middle of Midtown, so those are concrete tilt-up buildings, both of the data centers we visited. These photos show the facade with multiple colors and textures. We can go to the next slide, Shelby. And a decorative mural on the right-hand side. They also put fake windows up on one of the west-facing walls. So environmental for the QTS data center. On the left side, that photo is of the walking trail that they installed. It runs throughout the whole city, but the developer was required to install that along the frontage of their property, it's on the east property line side. And they also had to put in a conservation easement, which is between that walking trail and the data center property line, to keep the natural vegetation. The photo on the right is the landscaping with the berm and the sidewalk between the busy street and the data center. Next, now I'm going to do a couple comparison photos for you. This was the security at the QTS and at the Beltline Energy facility that we toured. Both centers had guard shacks with wrought iron fencing around the parking lot and entrance to the building. The next one is about noise. We took the decimal reader. In fact, the developer that we met with at Beltline said we were the only people that have ever brought a decimal meter to a tour before. And we had it out at all points that we could. From our observation, the hum at both facilities was constant. The HVACs were on the rooftop with sound barriers. So for perspective, at the QTS data center, I could hear the heating and air conditioning unit across the street at the commercial building more than I could at the data center. The decimal meter at the QTS was 61.7 to 71.5 decimals. The decimal reader at Beltline was 65 to 69 decimals. Now that was at the completed and the running data center. There was construction noise and it was windy that day. I just wanted to give some perspective on the decimal reader. For here at City Hall in the parking lot during a baseball game, I took it out there to measure and it showed between 62 and 65 decimals, just for some perspective. The next slide is about backup generators. On the left-hand side are the QTS backup generators that we saw when we were walking around the facility. The one on the right is the Beltline. Both of them had the generators in soundproof enclosures. For Beltline, they told us that the generators are tested monthly in rotation. They're allowed less than 20 hours a year runtime. They are not equipped to run for long periods of time and to be used only as a backup. They can be fueled by natural gas or diesel. These at Beltline were fueled by diesel. Now we're to Friday morning when we went to Beltline. We had a meeting with them. They gave us a presentation called Data Center 101. This is Beltline's fourth project, the one in Georgia, Atlanta that we visited. There were 2 completed data centers that we drove by, and we stood outside one of them with our decimal meter. Those are both secure facilities. We could not enter without full background checks, so we did not go inside of those. There was one under construction, and that's the one that we toured. You'll see the photos shortly. The site was 81 acres. It was zoned I-2 heavy industrial and built as a warehouse. We again asked the Community Development Department of Atlanta, Georgia, and she stated that that was the only appropriate zoning that they had at that time because they didn't have anything other than industrial that was appropriate for a data center at that time. Since then, that has changed. The three buildings, the size of them, the two ones that were completed were smaller. They were 200,000 square feet each. And the larger one that we toured is 450,000 square feet. This is being built in 3 phases over a 5 to 7 year span as power becomes available. And it started in 2021. These are photos of the outside of the Beltline Energy Tour. The one on the left is a completed facility. And that one that shows the landscaping that they installed. The one on the right is the one under construction that we toured. Next. Now we're down to environment, just to give you an idea of the surrounding area. This one was built in a rural area. The photo on the left, you can see the elevation change on the right. The data center was over on that side on the top of the elevation change. There was also a 30-foot high concrete sound wall on that side between the data center and this street that it was 90 feet from property line. On the left of that same street, there were townhomes, and there's a picture of one driving by because we didn't walk around this facility. So those are the townhomes, the photo on the right that we drove by. There is a property line on the other side of the facility, and that one was lined with densely thick trees, and you'll see a photo of that in a minute. Here's while we were on our tour. So on the left shows the offices that are under construction. On the right is a photo of the actual data hall. Next. On the left is an air intake. So those 3 holes, if you will, on the left photo is where air comes in, it gets cooled down by the system, and then it blows back into the data hall through the holes to the right of that opening. The data hall repetition on the right-hand side, it's the same room layout, and that pattern's multiplied 7 times. So I know you can't see it in that photo, but I was just trying to show that it's got repetition there, and that's the layout, the floor plan of the data center. Next is the fire suppression system. It's called VESDA. It's an acronym for Very Early Smoke Detection Apparatus. And on the right was a Q&A session happening in the battery backup room. Next is the exterior of this facility we were touring. Those are the future generator pads on the left, and on the right, that just shows the area between the building that was under construction and the property line where the trees are. Now, cooling. This facility had air-cooled chillers, also known as closed-loop system. It's a traditional HVAC system with hot aisle, cold aisle design. It does use glycol water mixture to efficiently manage heat, prevent pipe freezing, and provide corrosion protection. Next is the fiber. That they stated to us multiple times that redundancy is very important to them. They had 3 different fiber providers at 3 different entry points just for this one building that we were touring. Next is electricity. This project was built in phases as power became available from Georgia Power. At 200 megawatts yearly were the phases, and at total build out, it will be 1.2 gigawatts. Georgia Power has implemented a tariff for large load customers, specifically targeting data centers and industrial projects to protect residential customers from any rate increases. It puts the cost of rapid load expansion on the developer, not on the residents. And last but not least is water. Their facility uses 7,500 to 10,000 gallons per day for an air-cooled system, also known as closed loop. To put it into relative terms, it's the same as 40 to 50 residential homes per day. And just one more relative term is our Piedmont High School uses 2,000 to 3,000 gallons of water per day during the school year. So thank you for the opportunity to participate in this trip. We were only there for 21 hours, but they were incredibly productive. We're confident the insights gained will have a lasting benefit for the city of Piedmont.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Mr. Mayor, this presentation, as well as the Data Center 101 sheet that Beltline provided to the city staff, will be online tomorrow. So give us some time to get back in the office. We'll get them uploaded, and we'll put it out on our social media page. So, but this will be out here for you all.
Thank you, sir. Item 5, consent agenda. Mr. Jones, do you want to pull anything?
No, thank you.
Mr. Heisey?
No.
Mr. Myers?
No, sir.
Mr. Cardwell? Nope. Mr. Shulamok?
Quick question on item C.
So Byron wants to see. Can I get a motion to approve A, B, D, E, F, G, H, and I?
I move that we approve items A, B, and then D through I on the consent agenda.
Second.
Rob?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Ron? Aye. Byron?
Aye.
All right, Byron, item C, what do you got?
Page 12, little item I harp on every now and then. Near the bottom, special events, 90,000.
Okay, moving on. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm just messing with you. Keep harping. Get it done.
$90,000 budgeted, 105,800 spent. I'm just wondering if the extra $16,000 was donated or.
So we do receive some donations for 4th of July, for Christmas, as well as for the employee event that we do for Christmas. Also, we have donations that are given to the city for the employee awards banquet. And so just about every event that we host receives some form of donation. And that's not always
Like-
accounted for there. So whenever they give it to us, it gets purposefully earmarked for those events. And then we use those and take it out of that budget item.
Okay. That's all I needed.
Yes, sir.
I move we approve item C.
Second.
Matt?
Aye.
Ron? Aye. Byron?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
You don't know what it's for.
Item 7, public comments. Pursuant to the City of Piedmont Council Rules, Resolution Number 0925-23A, members of the public body shall be allowed to attend all meetings of the City Council. In addition, the City Council will have an item on every regular City Council agenda that affords citizens the right to speak. Any individual wishing to address the council shall submit a speaker's form and sign in with the city clerk prior to the start of the beginning of the meeting. If a member of the public wishes to speak on an item that is scheduled for the public hearing at the same meeting, the speaker shall wait until the public hearing. The presiding officer will then acknowledge only those individuals who have submitted a speaker's form. The council will set a maximum time of 20 minutes at each regular meeting for public comment. Those wishing to speak will be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers will be allowed to address the council in order that they signed in with the city clerk. The presiding officer may extend the time limits if necessary in accordance with the Oklahoma Open Meetings Act. City council members cannot engage in dialogue with members of the public body about topics that are not listed on the agenda. So that'll clarify that. Orson Barney. And if you could, just come up and state your name and your address for the record, and then you can get after.
Yeah, Orson Barney, 7800 Richland Road Northwest. Just wanted to show up to the meeting. Feel like there's been a lot of talk about the data center and stuff, and not a ton of information shared with the residents, and I just think residents should have the right to learn a little bit more before something gets rushed through. So that's my biggest thing, so appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Melissa Ashford.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. As most of you know me already, Mr. Myers, nice to meet you. I wanted to talk about the fact that Oklahoma City and Tulsa have both, my address is 3899 Cemetery Road, Northwest. Oklahoma City and Tulsa have both implemented temporary moratoriums on data centers as of April 2026. These measures are designed to give city planners time to update zoning codes and study the infrastructure demands of these facilities. Affected data center types, the moratoriums primarily target large-scale and hyperscale data centers. These are massive facilities used for AI processing, heavy data storage, and cloud computing. And did I hear you say, Julie, that it was 495,000 square feet? That sounds pretty large to me. The focus is on facilities that create moderate impact effects, specifically noise and vibration, which were previously misclassified under older low-impact industrial codes. My biggest concern after being on the council for 6 years, the water. I know that there are a couple of engineers on the city council that I'm sure are very well aware of the water issues that we have at peak hours. There are low water pressure. We have water line breaks all the time. I am concerned with the millions of gallons of water for cooling. I am also concerned whenever we're in a drought, how that affects us. And most importantly, this affects Ward 5, which is where I am in, and a lot of farmers still live out there, and we still have a lot of cattle out there. And I am unsure as to what tapping into our aquifer is going to do, if that's what they choose to do. I'm not sure what the aspects of any chemicals that they might put out or spill out or dispose of improperly, properly, whatever, how that seeps into our aquifer and how it might affect our cattle, our livelihood, our people, and the land. So those are things that I would like for y'all to consider whenever you're looking at this. Thank you.
Thank you. Bingham, is that Chelsea?
Mr. Mayor and the council members, thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. As was just discussed, Piedmont already has several issues with our water. Horrible water pressure and the additional demand that will come from multiple residential construction projects that are already underway will only further erode our current water pressure. Adding a data center will absolutely decimate what little water pressure we already have. energy prices for demand on power grid. It will increase the energy prices for residential customers and small businesses that are already battling high prices due to other factors. By 2029, data centers are projected to increase energy bills for consumers and small businesses by 70%. Data centers utilize an enormous quantity of water in the thousands of gallons, and the greater demand will drive water prices higher for normal citizens. And I also echo concerns regarding water during the drought and the negative effects it will have on our aquifer. Data centers contaminate the groundwater and surrounding water sources primarily through the discharge of wastewater from cooling systems, which contains concentrated chemical additives like biocides and corrosion inhibitors. These contaminants, including nitrates, can seep into groundwater and soil, particularly when wastewater is disposed of on nearby land, posing risks to local ecosystems and drinking water. As a large farming and ranching community, this would have a very negative impact on Ward 5, since a lot of it is still largely farmers and ranchers. Data centers are also given a massive tax break by states and municipalities. That revenue that is lost by giving these tax breaks has to be recouped somehow, and the burden will eventually be passed onto the citizens of this community. For example, there is a proposed subsidy for the expansion of the J.P. Morgan Chase data center in New York. J.P. Morgan Chase will reportedly receive $77 million in tax breaks, and the project promises only to create one permanent job. Data centers produce as was admitted by the team that visited Atlanta, they produce a constant humming noise. This constant high-pitched hum can be heard 24/7 and can even be heard indoors. While I acknowledge that it is no different than standing out in the parking lot during a full night of baseball games, those baseball games eventually end. The humming of a data center does not. Some citizens near the Microsoft data center in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin, report having headaches due to the noise, and many run box fans to try and drown out the noise. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bill Long. Make sure you state your name and your address, please.
Bill Long, 1213 Jackson Avenue Northeast. I think just about everything I intended to say, some folks have already said, but basically, I'd like to, one, understand why this is an emergency meeting.
This is not an emergency meeting. This is a regular council meeting.
We've got 2 emergency amendments to your stuff that you're wanting to pass. Water tower.
We will deal with that, but that has nothing to do with the data center.
Okay, well, it's still an
Just saying.
emergency. Okay, that's, all right.
We have that on every
Then
meeting.
Then
We
cite
have
what
that
the
on
ru-
every
cite
meeting.
what the rules are for emergency status and ordinances, and explain why it's an emergency, that's all.
Okay.
And the other request, basically, I'm pretty much in agreement so far that we're rushing on the data center. I would suggest we consider a moratorium, since probably 15 communities in the state have already done that, and there's pending legislation at the state Senate Bill 1488, which is to address data centers in the state, will probably pass a moratorium on data centers. That's it. I hope I appeal to you that you take more time to figure this out and engage the community a little more.
Pat Bergen.
I basically got 5 or 6.
State your name,
questions.
sir, and your address.
Oh, Pat Bergen from Okarche. I got 5 or 6 questions I wanted to ask. I don't know if there's anybody here to answer them, but First thing, how many data centers and how many acres are we talking about?
We're not supposed to get engaged with you.
Huh?
We will answer those, not at this meeting, though.
Okay. Okay, then the other one, can we get something in writing that no groundwater will be used, say, within 15 miles of the data center? Because that's a big concern, is the groundwater use. And then what does the town of Piedmont get out of this? I mean, is there tax money? Is it the school sales tax? I don't know that. That's something we need. I mean, why would you want to do data centers if you're not getting anything out of it? And can you rezone land in Kingfisher County? Do you have to contact the landowner to rezone a piece of property? Do they have to agree to rezone it? Because I know some of it that's being rezoned, the landowners don't even know about it. And then, well, I had a question about the discharge. What's the deal with the discharges? There lagoons, which don't, most of them leak, or there's no is there no discharge? I was told there wasn't no discharge from somebody, so we just need answers to all those questions, I think.
We will get those for you.
Okay?
Heckman?
Hi, my name is Yolanda Heckman, 1020 Lucinda Lane in Kingfisher. I work for the Kingfisher County Assessor's Office. I was surprised that the presentation didn't say anything about the property taxes, okay? Who's paying the property taxes? I think everybody should know that data centers in Oklahoma have not paid any property taxes. We, the people of Oklahoma, pay the property taxes for them. So the Google data center in Pryor is the second largest Google data center in the world. Right now, the citizens of Oklahoma are paying about $46 million a year for their property taxes. Google has not paid a single penny to property taxes. So the Pryor school system has benefited, yes, from the ad valorem taxes, but that the entire state of Oklahoma has paid on the behalf of Google. Google also has an arrangement where for the next 10 to 12 years, they will continue to not pay any property taxes. The people of Oklahoma do. That comes out of our income taxes. Right now, the state of Oklahoma, for our 5-year exempt properties, the data center in Pryor takes up about 90% of all tax exempt properties. That includes like oil and gas, the wind farms, all kinds of industries. When a property applies and is granted a 5-year tax exemption, it does not mean there's no taxes. It means that we pay the taxes for them. Every time a business expands over a certain percentage or hires in more employees, they can extend that 5-year exemption. So my thing is, I would encourage everybody to talk to their county assessors, talk to the Oklahoma, Canadian County, Kingfisher County assessor, and ask really how these programs actually work, because I feel like there is a lot that people do not know. So I would be curious, in Georgia, who pays their property taxes? Are they paying them themselves, or are the citizens footing that bill? And if the purpose is to fund the schools, which the schools absolutely deserve more money, then why are we not just paying more out of our pocket anyway?
Question for you then.
No questions.
Yeah.
No questions. Don't start. Don't start. Don't start. Don't.
Okay. I
No
apologize.
questions.
I will be hanging around afterwards if anybody has any questions off the
have questions.
off the records. Okay, thank you.
Peter Hayes.
Peter Hayes, live at 203 Bridle Path, Northwest in Piedmont, Oklahoma. I've lived out in this community for 47 years, so quite some time. I would like to say, if y'all will show me a show of hands, who's against this with the current information they have? All right, ward members, are y'all paying attention? Because I would ask you all to step outside of normal and actually hold a meeting for all your ward members. Get the word out however you can and actually see a show of hands. Who wants a data center and who doesn't? Because these people have all done their research. You guys have been fed something, experienced a little bit of it. I'm not saying you haven't researched it, but they know quite a bit. And what you've heard now, I'm sure you've heard information you haven't even heard of yet. So I implore you to do what your ward wants, not what you all want. Because what you're doing is not in the best interest of us. Do you, and you understand what I just said? Mr. Cardwell, you're actually in my ward. Did you hear me? Thank you. That's it.
Angie Crawford.
My name is Angie Crawford. I live at 3100 Northeast Apache. I'm a resident of Ward 4 of Mr. Heisey's. I too have lived out here. I've graduated high school from Piedmont in 1986. I've lived out here since 1995. I've seen a lot of change. I've seen a lot of growth. I'm not opposed to that, but I think, as what Peter said, also another longtime resident that I know well, that a majority of your constituents are not for this. And I ask you to stop and think. I am also a nurse. We only get one time to do this right. One time before we find out we messed up for hundreds of years down the line. Look at your emblem behind you. You have wheat. You have wind fields. You have farmers. You have ranchers. You have people that have lived their whole lives out here that don't want to be in industry. We don't want it. I live on a road that I've begged for 3 years to be fixed. I have put up with lots of things in this city because I love it. And I don't want to see it destroyed from a company in Georgia that knows nothing about Oklahoma. So that's all I have to say.
I know. I don't want you to trip and fall there.
Allie Taylor.
Allie Taylor, 4623 Matt Drive, Piedmont. I have lots of questions. I know you aren't going to answer them, but I'm just going to say them out there for everybody. So I do have a few statements about your presentation. So based on the information you were given, what proof did you get? We're asked all the time, what cited data did you get your information from? Because you're giving wrong information. What proof did you get of everything that you were given? Because it's just propaganda what they gave you. You went to their office. You went to a construction site. You went to a completely separate data center. QTS. Is our end user supposed to be QTS? You have no idea. So who is it? Does anybody know? Nobody knows yet. We need this information. As far as the application for here, is the residential application that's for the works in the apartments being built by the developers? Or is it for other people? How many generators are we going to have per building on our data center? Anybody? Do you guys know? It's in the application. Is the glycol readily available? And in your presentation, you said, Julie said, that they used closed loop air cooling. Those are two separate systems. And in closed loop systems, they can't be used over 80 degrees. How often is it not over 80 degrees in Oklahoma? So that's not going to work either. And every time they filter it out, it's pure toxic chemicals. Do we know well, here's continuing questions. Our phases for our proposed data center, how many buildings per phase are we going to have? Because they proposed 7 phases for 2 years each. That was only 2 phases. How many buildings was in that? When you polled people, did you even, compare it versus the city population? Did you get their addresses to verify that they even live there? Because they're just walking around. Anything on that. They said they're going to go to 1 gigawatt or 1.2 gigawatts. Power can't do that. Coal, natural gas, nuclear power. How's that going to work? What is ours going to be? What is our end power level going to be? What about the 6,000 acres of solar farm that's supposed to be attached to our data center? Has that been announced to everybody? No, it hasn't. What about the 20 acres of lithium ion batteries, the BESS station? Is it going to be placed next to the substation?
Time's up.
No? Okay. Well, those are questions we're all going to ask.
Mr. Jones,
How many Joneses are there?
it's you, sir.
Rodney Jones, I live at 9163 Richland Road Northwest, just south of Azalea. Every one of you knows what this is. This is the 2040 Piedmont, Oklahoma Comprehensive Plan. You signed it. You supposedly go by it. So let's see what it says. It situates Piedmont in a position to grow, it says. Okay, I can kind of dig that. And we do have a lot of growth going on. So let's see here. Master street plan by the governing body. Control of private subdivision of land. Data center is not a subdivision. It says designed to accomplish the following things: to lessen congestions in the street. And you're going to put how many thousand workers up on Azalea? How many thousand are going to try and get to it either on Piedmont Road or on Richland Road, that's gravel, or on Frisco Road, which is shale? We don't have the roads up there. It says secure safety from fire, panic, and other dangers. You gonna send the fire department up there, the police department up there? To promote health and the general welfare, including the peace and quality of life of the district. To prevent the overcrowding of land. To promote historical preservation. To facilitate the adequate provision of transportation, water, sewage, schools, parks, and other public requirements, with a view to conserving the value of buildings like homes, encouraging the most appropriate use of land. And I don't know how much time I've got. It says the purpose of the comprehensive plan is to take information from the plans, that's other plans as well, and use them to project realistic possibilities for future growth. Any other future plan will be conducted to coincide with the goals and strategies set forth in this plan. These desired business types, the ones that you want in, or the citizens want in, that was on a community survey, include sports facilities, gas stations, restaurants, retail stores, personal services, parks, entertainment, mixed use, offices, retail commercial centers. Of particularly high demand are the sports facilities. Am I out of time already?
You are out of time, sir.
Okay. Well, I shouldn't have to read it because all of you know exactly what this is. All of you.
So we are out of the 20 minutes. So I have 5 speaker forms left. So I'd like to make a motion that we extend the time by 15 minutes. Is that,
I'll second that.
That is a safe procedural move.
do what?
That is a safe procedural move.
Okay. Rob,
Aye.
Jonathan,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Ron,
Aye.
and Byron.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Scott, Larry Scott.
You know, I'm old and slow, so you don't start the time yet. No,
I
what
started it a while
was
ago when I
slow-
said your name. Sorry, sir. Better go.
Larry Scott, 2504 Mustang Road, Northeast, Piedmont, Oklahoma. A lot of the issues or questions being asked, it need to be asked. First thing you need to ask Beltline, what kind of system is it? Is it air cooled? Is it water cooled? Is it a closed system? Is it a hybrid? All of them got their negatives and positives. And one thing you need to know, technology is moving so fast that NVIDIA, which is the giant chip maker, on their last two chips they made, there's no way that any system but a water cooled system will cool it. And that's the most advanced chips. This center will be technologically obsolete before they even get it built if it's air cooled. And if it's closed loop with the corrosion and the chemicals, and if you get a leak, goes in the water system and it has to be drained and cleaned. So they'll say it'll be a closed system, so they don't have to use all the water. But do you think about all the water that's gonna be used when they have to put the village up there of up to 1,800 people to build the system over an 18-month period? What water are they gonna use? They're gonna use our groundwater? Are they gonna contaminate our groundwater? Just that. Here's the thing to think about. There's gonna be within a 3-mile area and a 5-mile area that'll affect. And it's people out there with well water. And if you lose their well water, who's gonna buy their homes? Who wants to live next to a data center? And there's something else on noise. 95 decibels on a air-cooled system is pretty common up close. They can, on a high frequency, they can put walls to stop the noise. But on something nobody's talking about is low frequency. Low frequency is a noise that you don't hear usually. It works on your vascular system. It works on your mental system. It goes through doors. It goes through concrete walls. It goes through everything. It goes into your bedrooms at night. It never stops. And sometimes you don't know it's affecting you. And you need a scale, a meter that has checked that, and that should be part of the problem. And another thing is, who's going to put up the bond when you decommission this system? This system is going to be obsolete. And if they go bankrupt, who's going to pick up the cost of putting that system back? There's going to be, this system out here is taking more acres than 40 acres. This is taking 240 acres, or maybe more than that. I'm not sure. But this is a lot, apples and oranges in comparison. To get some out of time.
You're out of
Apples
time,
and
sir.
oranges between Atlanta and here.
Amber Ramsey.
Good afternoon, guys. I am coming to respectfully present before the council a concern that I have and put it on the public record. I'm requesting that Beltline's PUD application for rezoning to allow a data center in Piedmont, along with the city's amendment to the future land use map, which would move the city's industrial corridor to the same location and impact approximately 2,400 acres near farms and residential homes, both be removed for consideration at the May 4th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting and be rescheduled for a later date due to lack of adequate public notice. I bring the following reasons to support this request. This decision impacts multiple cities and counties. The public has a reasonable expectation that public notice should be complete, relevant, timely, accurate, easy to find, and consistent. While both public notices may have been posted in time to meet the minimum legal requirements, the other reasonable expectations were not met. Piedmont no longer has a city paper in regulation or regular circulation, so to meet the legal requirement for public notice, notices may be placed in any paper within the county. However, this creates a burden on citizens trying to locate important information. On April 13th, the city of Piedmont made a public statement on its official Facebook page directing attention to the PUD notice posted for Beltline in the Kingfisher paper and the Yukon Progress. However, the city did not disclose that it had also published its own legal notice regarding the amendment to the future land use map. By presenting this statement as an act of transparency, a reasonable citizen could assume no other related notices or relevant information had been posted, when arguably the more important document was not disclosed. The PUD and FLUM public notices were scattered across 3 different papers on multiple dates. The Oklahoman on 4/14, the Yukon Progress on 4/11, the Kingfisher paper on 4/12. The PUD was only posted in the Yukon Progress and the Kingfisher paper, not in the Oklahoman. The FLUM amendment was only posted in the Kingfisher paper and the Oklahoman, not in the Yukon Progress. This created multiple deficiencies. The Yukon Progress notice was deficient because it was missing the FLUM notice. The Kingfisher FLUM notice was deficient because it listed the wrong meeting date, 5/5/2026. I have that for you. The Oklahoma notice was deficient because it was missing the PUD notice and also listed the incorrect FLUM meeting date of 5/5/2026. All PUD notices also lacked transparency because they did not identify who was applying for the rezoning. Citizens were not clearly told that Beltline was the applicant, nor were the individual landowners making the request for rezoning placed on the notice, the ones selling their land to Beltline on contingency. Without the PUD notice indicating industrial or industrial technology or the name of the applicant, it is impossible to recognize the intended purpose of that PUD. When looking at it as a citizen, you cannot tell what it is for. The Oklahoma posting also lacked transparency because no photos or maps of the site were included.
Time's up.
I'll let you read the rest. But what I would ask is that basically you consider, for these reasons, I respectfully request that both matters be moved from the May 4th Planning and Zoning Commission agenda and postponed to the June 1st planning meeting. And I'll give you the copy of it. Still passing down, I appreciate it.
Chris O'Reilly.
Chris O'Reilly, 5971 Starry Night here in Piedmont. One of the things that I keep going back and forth on is why? Why would a company headquartered in Georgia not want to continue to operate in the state of Georgia? Why do they wish to use our resources instead of their resources? Why do they wish to come to our backyard instead of building in their backyard? What's the ROI for them versus the ROI for us? There are many, many points that I was considering wanting to share with everybody, but many of my fellow citizens and neighbors have already shared those, so I don't want to, spin up here and mirror them. However, Mr. Hayes did give us a good example. If everybody, again, who would not like to have this data center here, please raise your hand. Mayor, at the beginning of this meeting, you invoked the name of God that you might work on behalf of us citizens and our city. I'm asking you now to do that. You see us here. We don't want this. Work on our behalf. Work for the city for what your citizens want. Thank you.
Julie Deason.
Hello, my name is Julie Deason. I'm at 3291 Faint Ridge here in Piedmont. I'm going to do the best I can. Some of the information that you have already corrected and said was inaccurate. I'm going to go based on what my information was prior to this meeting. I think part of our frustration is the fact that we don't have any answers, so we don't know what to research and we don't know what's going on. Piedmont citizens have had issues with water pressure and availability for years. We do not have the infrastructure to provide reliable water or pressure to the residents. Why would we even consider allowing a data center into our area when a quick Google search will tell you that a typical data center will use between 300,000 and 5 million gallons per day? There are days I have trouble getting shampoo out of my hair now. I can't even imagine what it would be like with a single company coming in and using that much additional water. My next concerns are regarding the process in which all of this has taken place. Now, some of this may be the part that's inaccurate. The council voted to, my understanding is the council voted to add new codes to accommodate this center before anyone in town knew it was being discussed. This implies that you guys have already decided you want it to happen. Ordinance 2026-2005 and 2026-001, which are being voted on tonight, are being used with emergency orders to pass. My first question is, what is the emergency? 2, without using emergency orders to pass this, the citizens would have the time to use the power of veto. This simply implies you don't care what we have to say about this when you remove our ability to veto your guys' choices. You have a vote scheduled tonight for a new water booster, which I absolutely appreciate. However, with everything else going on right now, it appears to be happening to comply with the ordinances that would govern the center, not to benefit the citizens. Ordinance 2026-005 removes the Citizen Commission review. The only reason to do this is either to hide what's happening until it's too late and we have no recourse, or again, you don't care what we have to say in our contributions. Ordinance 2026-001 changes the building rule. This ordinance seems to be directly related to the potential data center. However, this would affect all buildings in the future. It seems deceptive that this is being voted on using emergency orders again and not being discussed in specific relation to, again, the potential data center. The Planning Commission is scheduled for May 4th. Again, it appears deceiving to attempt to strip their authority tonight before they're able to review any of this. Again, this appears that you're trying to hurry things through without a way for the citizens to exercise their legal rights to review and veto if they should choose. It seems here lately the votes in town are to take away our rights and our abilities to respond when we don't like your guys' decisions. They're taking citizens' rights rather than empowering us to be a part of our decision-making process of our own community. What I would like to ask you guys tonight is, will the data center pay the increases to the citizens' water bills or electric bills? What's the emergency? If you're truly trying to be transparent, allow the people time to discuss the issues and let us vote on the issue. Are they going to pay for our town's infrastructure's necessary increases? I appreciate your time.
Nicholas Abstar.
Good evening.
Name and
Nicholas
address.
Abshire, 3917 Terry Lane, Ward 4. There's two questions I've got that actually pertain to this agenda tonight and the agenda from the last meeting. Who paid for the Atlanta trip? And did Beltline cover any part of it? Did anyone on the Atlanta trip sign a confidential agreement that limits what they can share with the public? Now, I'll give a statement to everybody at these tables. Your citizens don't want to be treated like idiots. They want their voices heard. They want to feel like you represent them because that's what you are. You're voted in representatives of your ward. Mr. Heisey, you're my representative. You represent my family. You represent everybody on Terry Lane. I need you to do that. I need you to represent me at the best of what's good for me and what's good for my family, what's good for my 2-year-old son, who I plan anyways to graduate from that high school right down that road. Now, a bad decision tonight might make that change. A bad decision in the future might make that change. I'm just one man with a family. Look at all these people behind me. This is an entire army of people who can either be for you or against you. I need you guys to make a good decision. It's in your hands. It's in your court. Again, I'll repeat like the sir said over there. Mr. Mayor, you made a prayer to God. You representatives swore an oath to God on to the Constitution to protect and defend it. I made the same oath. I make the same oath every year. I make that same oath. And I protect and defend the Constitution of my life. And I swear to that same God every day I wake up. I swear to that same God. Do the same thing when making a decision. And don't make your oaths not what they're not supposed to be. I believe Scripture tells us, make your yeses yes and your noes noes, right? Remember that when you make your decision tonight.
That should be all the speaker forms that were turned in to me. Scheduled business. Item 8A, discussion, consideration, and possible action on ordinance number 2026-001, an ordinance amending Appendix 2 of the City of Piedmont Municipal Code regarding a lot area minimums, lot width, lot coverage, and setbacks for district regulations chart. This is going to be the second reading. I make a motion to approve item A.
Hold up a second. I got some questions.
This is second reading.
I know, I don't want to change anything. I just have questions.
Oh, okay.
I think everyone will benefit from these questions. Ms. Steele or we started talking about this back in September, right? At a workshop.
I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but I believe it was April 25.
Okay. So we've been talking about it since April 25.
Yes.
And this table that we're amending, does it have anything to do with the industrial technology zoning district?
No, that is not on the table.
Okay. So if I change the rear setback for RS1 single family zoning, how does that apply to a data center?
It doesn't.
What about if I change the minimum lot coverage for real estate residential? How does that affect a data center?
It doesn't.
If I,
Mr. Heiser, we have a motion on the floor
yeah, I'm just
to
asking.
approve this. I would like a second, right? We have a motion.
You can make a motion, second the motion, there's debate will occur, and you can make a motion to approve this question.
But this is, okay.
Just hold up.
Push the property.
Does the
discussion has
does the
nothing to
front
do with
yard
what we're doing.
setback for real estate, does that apply to data center zoning in any way?
No, sir. Nothing on that zoning chart
Okay,
applies to
so
the data center industrial district.
Can you explain to me anything in this chart that would apply to lot coverage, minimum lot size, setbacks, maximum structure heights that would apply to a data center?
Nothing on that chart would apply to a data center. That's a zoning chart that was in existence prior to the data center industrial district creation. So there's no reference to it at all.
Okay, thank you. I second the mayor's motion.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Byron,
Aye.
Ron,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Jonathan.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, do you want me to explain the emergency provisions, just, because there's been confusion?
Well, I mean, to tell you the truth, to be honest with you, the misinformation that was on social media about what we're doing and actually putting more regulations in place for this stuff kind of irks me that we've been put in the position that we're in tonight. So to put an emergency in tonight to make sure that this gets done tonight so nobody can come in tomorrow and go against what we're trying to do to protect our city, I would not make a motion to declare an emergency on it. But you can tell them what an emergency is on these.
If the council wants me
Absolutely.
to, I can. If you don't want me to, I won't.
Go right ahead.
Well, seeing some nods, I think that's a yes. So
Please do it.
there's just been some confusion. I just want to clarify. This is a regularly scheduled meeting. We actually had a court case last year where there was some confusion on what that means, and those people just didn't understand the nature of the law. So all we're doing tonight in the emergency just deals with publication in the newspaper and the effective date. And just working with the staff, the objective here was, since we have these health and safety requirements in your zoning chart that you all have studied for, I think, over a year now, you didn't want an application to come in tomorrow and use the wrong rules. And so we're just trying to make sure the rules for those subdivisions are appropriate.
So declaring an emergency makes the ordinance go into effect immediately.
Correct. I think the
As
changes.
opposed to if we don't declare the emergency, it goes into effect in,
I'll double check. I think it's 21 days. That was my recollection. It's 15 or 21, depending on what it was. I'll have to check on it.
so we've declared, I don't know how many times, declared an emergency on all kinds of measures in order to have immediate effect, because we wanted to make sure land developers or residents or anything like that didn't get crosswise with the new with a new law, you know, because every time we pass an ordinance, I think most of us are pretty sure we're trying to do it for the benefit of the city. And so now not everything goes in with immediate effect.
Correct.
Okay.
So I guess you're proper for the motion on emergency or lack thereof.
And
Well, I would prefer to declare an emergency on this measure for the very reason the mayor mentioned, that
oh, no.
somebody could
Oh,
come
no.
in with a,
Oh, no, I'll make a motion to make this go into effect on June 1st. Anybody want to second that motion?
Could I get a clarification? I don't think we can we control when the ordinance becomes effective?
Let me look at what you put on the document here, sir. Give me 1 second. $78.79. Okay, I want papers are backwards. Yeah, the way it's drafted, it would just be, you would pass it to, but I just, as a
Order.
point of order, I'm just answering the question.
Say that again.
No, you, on this one, the way we have it structured, it's either emergency clause, effect immediate, or we'll wait the statutory period.
So we'll wait the 20.
Again is
I'd say
15
15 or,
days?
15 or 21. I can look it up for you real quick if you want to look it up.
Yeah, will you look it up for us?
Yes, sir. So without the emergency clause, the effect will be 30 days after passage, and you'll have to publish it during that window in the newspaper.
So 30 days from today?
Correct.
Okay.
So I think as a matter of procedure, you had a motion, you're pending second or lack thereof.
The motion's for the June 1st?
Well,
Right.
it's either,
No, I'm saying, like, are we going off the motion that I made for June 1st?
oh, no, I'm sorry, I thought someone said one over here.
Oh, no, I'll just go that we do not declare this an emergency. I'll pull my motion back and make a motion not to declare this an emergency.
It's a proper motion pending a second.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Rob,
aye.
Jonathan,
Aye.
Ron,
Aye.
Byron,
Aye.
and Matt.
Aye.
Item B, discussion, consideration, and possible action on ordinance 2026-05 and ordinance to repeal section 1-4A, jurisdiction over 5-acre lots or larger under certain conditions. Anybody got any questions?
Mr. Mayor, I do have questions, and I think Ms. Still could probably answer those questions for me.
Ms. Steele.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Julie. I know you've been dealing with this issue with splitting tracks into sub-tracks larger than 5 acres. And could you just briefly discuss the problems that it's created for the city and the community development department?
So this ordinance currently allows people to create 5-acre parcels if it abuts a section line road. It doesn't have to go through any platting or lot split process through the city. The only requirement is a 17-foot street dedication on the section line road. What has happened in the past is people have come in and divided up sections of property, split it up, sold it off without going through the city and only providing the 17-foot street dedication. Then when property owners go to build, they don't have the means to build their single-family dwelling because there's no fire hydrants on the property. They've created lots that are landlocked. They've created flag lots that are not okay and don't allow us to have the fire safety requirements that we need. So we've asked that that part be removed so that we can make sure the lots develop correctly and people who buy their lots will be able to develop on them and build their single-family dwellings and developments.
So this is a public safety issue, if I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
And this actually gives the city more authority, correct? Not less.
Correct.
Does this take any authority away from the planning commission?
No, it does not.
Does this apply to the industrial technology zoning district in any way that you could think of?
No, because all their lots are over 5 acres.
Thank you.
One question, Julie, though. If they did want to, say there's a quarter section and they only want 80 acres of it, and they go and split that, the original owner retains the 80 and the other 80 goes off, that would be a lot split for that property, would it not?
That's correct. And
Okay.
you're correct. If this is repealed in this second reading, then that will have to go through the city.
Okay,
They can't just do it on their own.
exactly, thank you.
I move to approve item 8B.
Second.
Matt,
Aye.
Ron,
Aye.
Byron,
Aye.
Jonathan,
Aye.
Ron.
Aye.
I move we declare an emergency since this has to do with public's.
I would just do it. I'd leave it like A. We've
Second.
had so many questions
Okay.
I made a motion, I'm seconding it.
with no discussion. You guys made me discuss it while
Whoa,
ago.
whoa, whoa, whoa. You can still,
For discussion.
No, I'm
Yeah, we
out.
can call for
Whatever.
discussion.
Whatever.
the rules allow,
Whatever.
you can have discussion after the motion's made.
No, I'm just fed up with the whole fact
Okay, I
that
withdraw my
it's an
motion.
emergency, dude.
I withdraw my motion.
Just let it go with the other one. Let it go in 30 days.
Well,
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either. If
Why
it's
not?
do something up, what are we doing? We're doing it just to spite everybody?
Well, I'm just giving people time to think about it so we can then repeal it at the next meeting. I'm not punishing the public. Listen, I don't want to hear it. Go ahead.
I move we declare an emergency because it's a public health and safety issue with fire protection.
Second.
Matt,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Byron,
Aye.
Ron,
Aye.
Jonathan.
Aye.
Item C, discussion, consideration, and possible action on electing a mayor pro tem as required by the city charter. Who's gonna be the first to raise their hand?
Well, the current mayor pro tem is Jonathan Heisey, is that correct?
That's correct.
I think we throw it at Matt.
If you want that, I'll do it.
Excuse me?
So if you want me to, I'll stand up. I'll do it.
Sure.
I move to nominate Matt as our mayor pro tem.
Second that motion.
Rob,
Aye.
Jonathan,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Ron,
Aye.
Byron.
Aye.
Council, I'd like to take a 5-minute recess to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Is that, do we need
If
to
there are no
make a motion?
objections, you can make the order. Just announce for no objections.
Yeah. Without any objections, I'd like to take a 5-minute recess for a bathroom break.
Declare an emergency. Declare an emergency.
No second, no vote.
If you could find your seats, please.
All right.
No. Waiting on
And they have to close those doors.
Josh and Daniel. It's chilly in here. I like it. It definitely is. Could you imagine it being hot? Well, could you imagine it being hot? Like an old 1950 town hall meeting.
You guys are.
It's all right. You can leave it like that. It's fine.
Need a mechanical engineering degree.
I call this meeting back to order. Item D, discussion, consideration, possible action on appointing one or more persons to the planning and zoning.
So, Councilman, there was only one applicant. You should have received that application. It was incumbent upon the applicant and the council men to interview the applicant or not. The one applicant was Asa Warlick. Asa is the city's former building inspector. He had an opportunity to take another position. It was a promotion. We hated to see him go, but he's familiar with our building codes, familiar with the city, familiar with the comp plan. So,
Any comments? Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve Asa to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
Ron,
Aye.
Byron,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Jonathan,
Aye.
and Rob.
Aye.
Item E, discussion, consideration, and possible action on appoint one delegate and up to two alternate delegates to the ACOG Board of Directors, 911, ACOG BOD, blah, 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 Policy Committee, and the Garber Wellington Association. Page 82.
this is the other duties as assigned to the councilman that everybody likes to pass around. I think Rob Jones is our current primary. I think Councilman Schlomock is our secondary, and I think Matthew Myers is also an alternate. This is just that yearly, because of the election cycles. This is just that yearly ask from ACOG on who we want to be our representatives.
I move that we keep it the same.
Of course you would.
I
Should
move
we
that I'll be,
ask?
I don't mind being an alternate. I don't want to be the main guy here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be an alternate.
Well, Rob.
He who speaks last.
I've got too many irons in the fire to,
Oh, wait.
to be an effective person. Just
Can you be the primary, Byron?
I hate you people.
Lovingly said, though, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, love him.
with tongue in cheek. I guess I'll be the primary. I don't like it. But whatever.
Excellent. I move that Byron be the primary, the two alternates be Matt and Rob.
Second.
Jonathan,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Byron,
No.
and Ron.
Byron, if you need me to fill in for you, Byron, just call me. I'll be out of town.
Actually,
I know you will.
ACOG just called me and said, please don't send him.
Well, I can be a.
Yeah, we know.
We know. Item F, discussion.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Oh.
For the record, was that an aye or a no by Byron?
You can put him as a no,
I
because it's
put-
4-1.
No.
I get it.
I mean, it's
I'm
for
a
the
no.
record.
He lost 4-1.
Item F, discussion, consideration, and possible action on selecting up to three trustees for the Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group.
So before you are a list of folks who have thrown their name in the hat to serve on the OMAG board. I know several of them on the list. If you're seeking a recommendation, I think I made Justin Battles and Tim Lyons a recommendation last year. I would ask that you consider Cody Rowe as also a member to join that. So Justin Battles, Tim Lyons, and Cody Rowe.
Sounds good. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Ron. Aye. Byron.
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Rob.
Aye.
And Jonathan.
Aye.
Item G, discussion, consideration, and possible action on Canadian County project agreement regarding Morgan Road reconstruction between 178 to 164.
So in your packet, you have an interlocal agreement that is being provided by Canadian County District 1 to provide the labor and equipment to reconstruct Morgan Road between 164 to 178. You also have before you the estimate for the Morgan Road project. I know this is not a very timely estimate that was provided to you. It is a handout tonight. We were working to negotiate because Morgan Road sits down pretty low, so we have to build that road up. Through negotiations, we're going to be able to get the dirt for free. And so that's what we were waiting on, was for that last little bit to finalize the estimate. So you have a chip and seal final estimate of 164, 261.50. And then you have asphalt, which would be a 5-inch asphalt, stabilized sub base on both. But the asphalt would be 552,616. This is a mile of road that we received a $200,000 grant from ODOT. It is a 75-25 cost share. So obviously with the chip and seal being less than the grant amount, we would not meet our split difference there. So we'd have to give some money back. In talking with our public works director, residents in the area have been concerned. I know we're starting to build up more on the east side. We have a couple of neighborhoods that are going in. Also, a lot of people will turn at 164th and Morgan and go west and take Sarah Road, so to kind of give Sarah Road a little bit of relief. I could see this turning into a pretty highly trafficked area. So my recommendation would be to go to asphalt.
Here, here.
Which budget is this going to hit? Is this going to hit this year or next year?
So the goal is to try to have this done before the end of this fiscal year. If not, there will be some funds balance in the capital improvement fund that we can then allocate to next year. The goal is to have this done. The county is ready to mobilize. If you all say go, then they'll start moving equipment probably tomorrow.
Just as a comment, I'm delighted for the people that live along that road that's put up with the mud and everything else and the floods. They've been very patient, and I'm happy for them. I do want to say that I think the asphalt's the only way to go. That road's going to get hammered. And Sarah Road needs to be on the radar pretty quick. It's getting in pretty bad shape. When that school opens, look out, you know. So.
Well, as far as the higher amount goes, look, everybody loves asphalt. I do too. I guess my concern is we've got a lot of needs road-wise in the city. We've got that intersection at Edmond and Piedmont Road. Potential relief would be to pave Cemetery and pave Arrowhead Road east of Piedmont Road. Basically, the increase on this to get asphalt could potentially pay for chip seal on those 2 miles. And I'm just not sure. I'm not sure it's the best balance to spend the money on asphalt. Now, look, I mean, I live on Arrowhead Road. There's 2 miles of chip seal. They're getting run up and down by oil trucks all the time. They've stood up pretty darn well. And I don't know, is Morgan Road, I mean, inform me if Morgan Road is going to get piles of truck traffic. Car traffic is, you can take a lot of cars compared to relatively few trucks. And so I'm just, in my mind, comparing durability and all versus other needs. And I mean, even if Edmond Road out to the high school and beyond were rebuilt right now, we'd still have that Edmond Road Piedmont uh, traffic jam. And the only relief that I can conceive of right now would be to get people to loop around and go back east on Arrowhead. And the only way to do that, to get them to do that, is to do some paving, and that would require, you know, honestly, where we are financially, I'm sure it would be chip seal. I don't have any objection to that. Again, I'm just talking about balance here in the city as a whole.
One thing I know, I've had conversations with Josh. I know Oklahoma County has greatly underrun their labor and equipment costs for rebuilding those miles. So there's going to be probably, what, Josh, 150,000 coming back on that out of their original $230,000 labor and equipment estimate. You know,
Yeah, I know.
And-
Okay, yeah. I
and
just would reiterate,
Yeah.
and we have chip seal roads right now that need an asphalt overlay. That the base is going to pot, and they weren't rebuilt that long ago. And so, what are we going to do? Let them crumble while we give Morgan Road, you know?
Well, and in some of those areas, if Morgan Road gets done right, especially, you know, like when you talk about, you know, going in and fixing Sarah Road. And there's a spot on Sarah Road that before they chip sealed it last time, they over excavated, put back select material, and it still has settlement problems right down on the south side before that bridge. And so there's still something going on there that needs to be addressed. You know, maybe there's an old decaying landfill, you know, down there. Maybe it's an old, you know, section where the creek used to be. You know, I don't know. But when that road gets redone, they need to have a good, you know, alternate route, you know, to go to, and that would be Morgan Road. And I would hate to see any of our, you know, of us to give back any of the grant money. And since they are going to be adding fill, it's not going to have the advantage of like Arrowhead out to your place. That was a dirt road that had rock added to it that had been driven on for years and years and years and years, where a lot of these roads, they're so compacted with rock and shale. Yeah, you can probably go out there and grade them and chip seal them, and they're going to be fine for a long time. So I think going asphalt is the right way to go.
So
Here's the other thing, and I think you make a good point, Byron, about what you're saying. I'm not trying to be selfish about it. It's just that Sarah was chip and sealed 4 years ago, something like that, 5 years ago, and it's getting to be in really, really bad shape right now. And all the trucks that are going up and down Sarah now will now start using Morgan because Sarah's crummy and Morgan's going to be nice. And we've got that school opening right at that intersection. That road is, how many times you want to rebuild Morgan Road is what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of traffic.
It's going to be a lot of
I
traffic.
understand that. I just
Yeah.
remember.
Not that I don't appreciate what you're saying, I do.
Yeah, I just
So-
remember voting for, when I was first on the council, voting for some neighborhood roads to get asphalt, and they serviced about, you know, half a dozen houses. I'll never vote that way again. That was really dumb prioritization. And I'm just, yeah, I'm questioning the prioritization on this. I mean, we're talking about giving up what?
400,000.
No, no. We're talking
Two.
about giving up how much?
77,000 roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so we're gonna spend $400,000 to keep $77,000. And meanwhile, you're talking about rebuilding Sarah Road, and that's that much less money. Plus, I thought we were trying to build up a fund balance. And I'm just not seeing, I'm not seeing it.
Well,
So my question is, what would be the thought? I'm not a road expert here, so I'm looking at some of my public works director and some of you guys that have built roads. But what if we did a base of chip and seal? I don't even know if that's doable, right? Follow me here, and then we do a 2-inch, 2.5-inch layer of asphalt on top of the chip and seal. I think that would still save us a couple $100,000 to go towards the funds balance to be able to do other projects. It's costing right around $110,000 to do a chip and seal road, stabilized double chip and seal. So if we did a not to exceed, I could work with the county to try to do a not to exceed of about, I'd say 400, but I'm looking at probably 350 would be.
I think that would be better prioritization if that sort of thing works.
Councilman, I definitely understand. Is this on?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
They turned me
You're,
down.
you're concerned about the number of roads that we have, obviously for improvement. You know, we're in the season, we've been very blessed, because we do have all those trucks. I hate to say that because they do beat up our roads. But with the state funds that we have with, MRDAF, the city of Piedmont has received more funding through that state allotment than any other city. And we are in the season right now of making those applications again. And so there's a chance, we make application and get additional funds that will help us again move on to, additional sections. I know we can't count on that, but we are making applications again. Piedmont Road has been paved all the way to Waterloo now, based off of our awards, from that funding. And so the 200,000 that the, city manager talked about is the last project that has a part of those MRDAF funds, which is the roads based off of damage from oil field run. But you do make a
know
good
y'all say
point.
that, but Arrowhead Road's had the crap beat out of it, and it hasn't gotten one MRDAF dime.
Well, and those priorities are
So
set.
these kinds of things
Yeah.
start to get under old Byron's skin a little bit. And, because what we've got is, you know, County Line Road on Oklahoma, on the Oklahoma County, spending money like that, but I don't, you know, I've been over there. I haven't seen any oil field trucks. So, and maybe there are some, but, you know, it just, honestly, and frankly, Piedmont Road doesn't get a lot of oil trucks. We pretty much said stay off of it, for the through purposes. And, but meanwhile, we have a lot of roads that are getting impacted by oil trucks that are, you know, in some cases they're getting gravel. And that, you know, you can talk about, well, the amount of traffic and that sort of thing. But the trucks are more than just cars, and it does come down to a safety issue. People get stuck and all now. Till we get rain, that thankfully we won't have any of that. But as soon as we get rain, we're gonna have people getting stuck and sliding around off the roads that aren't paved. And so that's why I'm thinking we need to prioritize, even if it's just chip seal, we need to prioritize getting some of these roads paved. And again, I come back to the concern about the roads that have been chip sealed already that are, you know, they're standing up pretty well, but unlike Sarah, I guess some of them, like up on Moffett, have been done right, but they're still pretty beat up, and they need an overlay. Otherwise, the base is going to be ruined.
Who contractors can do chip and seal? Are there a lot of contractors that can do miles and miles of chip and seal in the state of Oklahoma? Because every time I ask this question, everybody says there's not anybody. You got to find somebody from out of state to come do it.
There are actually a couple of contractors, they're not local, that do chip and seal.
but there has been, at least 2 chip and seal contractors that used to do the state contract. They're no longer in business. And I'm not saying that we can't find somebody local, but, or
Well, all the chip
somewhat
and
regional, but,
Canadian County
but
self-performs their own chip seal.
I know that, but all the chip and seal roads we have in the city were done by Canadian County. And so we're at their mercy to do chip and seal.
Well,
If we need a new code of chips into oil, we have to get on their schedule if they can actually accommodate us. So that is a problem for the future as well as a problem for the present, honestly.
And it may be that some of these chip seal roads could have just another layer of chip seal.
Right. I don't disagree with that. I mean, there's probably some that do need it, but can the county get to it and can we find a contractor? You can find a dozen contractors to do lay down asphalt. You can find a dozen contractors to do a mill and overlay. I don't know if you can find a dozen contractors to do chip and seal. And that's my concern long term is if we could do a bunch of chip and seal roads and then they need to be resealed with another coat of chip and oil, can we find somebody to do it on our schedule and not be on somebody else's schedule?
we could look at that. I mean, obviously, Councilman, as you know, I mean, through a bid process, whether 2 years ago, we did a construction project where we did arterial roads. We looked at that typical section and anticipated that we're going to add asphalt to that as well for additional structure. And so we also did some of the residential roads here in the city. And as we have funds available, we can go out to bid. And if we want to do some of the rural roads in chip and seal, we could put that as an option.
Right.
For sure, or go out only, but I don't know if your point is maintenance of chip and seal roads or if it is to extend.
Yes.
Maintenance. To additional.
My
routes,
concern
yeah.
is maintenance because the edge starts breaking down.
Right.
And then what do? You can throw some asphalt on there, but it doesn't work the best.
Yeah.
And it's a problem at driveways and intersections because it doesn't handle turning traffic very well.
True.
And so it gets ground down or whatever, the oil bleeds through and you lose chips.
There's a process with chip and seal and a certain milestone that you have to hit for maintenance or it'll deteriorate quickly.
Yeah, that's my concern is the durability of the surface over time. And I don't know, you could probably throw life cycle cost, but you can make that into whatever you want it to be and pump the numbers out however you want it to be. But that's one thing. I have some questions about this project. Like, how much are we going to raise the road roughly? Like, probably not uniformly. Some spots can be more than others.
Yeah, we have 2 spots that obviously are traditionally or historically overtopping during rain events. And that's why we have the recommendation for the culverts is we'll raise those up in those areas in order to give proper coverage over those, the pipes that are required. So I think on the north drainage area, we're going to raise the road probably approximately 3 feet in order to give proper coverage over those pipes.
Okay.
On the south end, we actually are putting a relief cross drain and the same thing in order to get proper coverage on that. We probably won't have to raise that as much. It depends on the elevation on the west side ditch. I think is going to drive us on how we install that one. So
we're going to have anybody out checking densities or monitoring the compaction efforts of whoever's placing the fill?
If that's requested, I mean, that would be appropriate.
I mean, 3 feet of fill is significant enough. I just don't want to see, I just worry like it settles and then you get a big crack.
Well,
That's
and
my
I'm just
concern.
going to say this, being a former, highway superintendent for Oklahoma County, like somebody else on the council is, we try to build the roads where they'll withstand a long.
Right. Is this as long as somebody's, not laying down large lifts of soil and, just making the proper compactive effort to the amount of soil has been laying down. That's my main concern.
Okay.
What's the warranty between chip and seal and asphalt?
I'm not sure you'll get anybody to quote warrant your chip and seal maybe for a year, maybe it's one season.
So at worst, if the rock, like totally comes out,
you know, cause it's real dirty and it doesn't stick and it starts bleeding through or something really bad, and you can, you know, most of your contractors will come out. But the other thing too, when we have the county do the work, the county doesn't, usually there's language in the contracts where when they're done, they're done. We accept.
We
it.
accept what it is.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, there's no, warranty bond or anything associated with the project.
Well, and I agree with that, Councilman, but I know that, currently we've had really good response, you know, as far as assistance with the city, for that. And so I don't know that they would walk away from it,
Yeah,
but I think
yeah,
they would,
that's
they would help in
Versus
that
an out-of-town
situation. so,
contractor that says, see you later.
Yeah.
I have one more question for the city manager. County Line Road, Mr. Cardwell said roughly how much we think we might end up not spending that we originally planned. Was it like 150 or what?
Yeah, so it's right around 150 savings for the mile because it was 751,000 was the estimate. The bill came in a little over 580.
Right.
And then the north mile isn't complete yet, but we're in for half on that for 370 for the mile from 192nd to 206th. And we could
That's
potentially
basically the same estimate was before. You can't anticipate a savings, but they're fairly
Okay.
close.
So
to the
there
same
could be,
construction.
it could be,
another savings
the
there.
final bill could be less than
correct.
than that. And then Piedmont Road, we had originally budgeted roughly how much on that project? Do you guys remember?
Yeah, it
About
was about right at 2.3, I believe.
2.4.
2.4.
And the bid came in at,
A little over 1.8, almost 1.9 million.
so came in about 500,000 under what we had
Correct.
estimated. So about 650 rough, let's call it $600,000 under what we had budgeted.
Correct.
And then, but we're gonna spend probably, what, 200 some thousand on that next mile of county line.
Probably closer, probably
On the, I'm sorry, the
192nd.
next mile of county
Then
line.
that between 192nd and 206.
Well, I mean, if we go by the past mile,
sure.
the total expense on that was 580, a little bit more.
Okay,
And
so
so, and
half
we're
of that.
going half and half, so, you know,
yeah,
you're talking about
250.
290.
Yeah, 280,
almost 300.
300.
Okay, 300. So,
So it's about 70.
so even with that, you're still about 200,000 under your original estimate for those two projects. If you
Correct.
Look at all the, and so we're spending about about 390 for the asphalt on Morgan Road. But from what I can tell,
375.
375, but there's a little bit more. We got more contingency built in there, so it's about between 380 and 390. And one more question: the asphalt price on here, is that the Canadian County
6 month bid? Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're gonna at their, seems like really good.
That is a really good
Price.
I haven't seen prices that low in over 5 years.
You're exactly right.
So, I mean, I'm concerned about durability, longevity, maintenance. And I hear Byron's concerns about traffic circulation on the west of, on Frisco.
Well, I was talking about cemetery,
Okay,
trying to
cemetery.
deal with the high school traffic, really, is what I was talking about.
Between 192nd and 206.
No,
Cemetery.
cemetery between
178th.
178th and
192nd.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
And then getting
Yeah,
it to
sorry.
go
I was-
back east on.
Right. So if you could have a loop paved all the way around
Yeah,
there, so you need about 2 miles of
yeah.
work, roughly.
Well, once you get all the way to cemetery, which isn't all paved.
Yeah, call it 2.5.
So,
Yeah.
so I just want to
164.
remind the council that we budgeted where we were going to go take a loan, right, for $1.3 million. We have not had to do that yet. So we're holding fast, because we've had savings. We still have a little bit of money left over. We haven't made all of our transfers from the accounts like we had originally budgeted last year. So there still is some bandwidth there. I mean, you're still looking probably close to $1 million to be able to accomplish more roads going into the next fiscal year, to accomplish more of the roads. And I agree, we need to start building out our west side.
So if we did asphalt on Morgan Road, you still would not need to tap into that alone at this point. Is that what you're saying? Sorry. To put you on the spot.
We'd be really close,
Okay.
but
Well, I'm just gonna reiterate that look, pretty sure I'm gonna lose any vote here, but, if we're gonna, I think we need to think carefully about how we prioritize the funds and what we're trying to accomplish. And this is really fine for the people who live right next to Morgan Road.
I would say the
Got
same
more than
thing.
just the town.
I would say the same thing, but if you go back and look what our city did 12, 15 years ago, and they tried to go the cheap route, we couldn't get help from our senators or House representatives because we were just putting Band-Aids on everything. And you see, when we did the chip and seal on Sarah Road, it was a disaster. And we made our mind up like, hey, we're going to try to stay away from that. We started doing asphalt roads. And now we're getting so much money from the help of the state. And so I feel like if we keep going the way we're going, yes, I do agree with we need more roads out that way, but we can't start putting Band-Aids on stuff. I don't think Morgan Road is a good candidate for chip and seal with the drainage issues that what we're going to be doing there. I think you got to build it up to be able to hold what we need for years.
I'd like to make
If
a
you-
comment about the
if you-
traffic.
If
I could.
Sarah Road space was messed up, I mean, what can I say? It's
Well,
bad,
I think
but,
chip and seal
I
should
mean,
be
it
done
was-
inside a curb.
It,
man,
it
because
would have
just
been bad
falls
for
off.
asphalt, just like it's bad for chip and seal.
True.
So,
What's your comment, Rob?
My comment is just about going back to the traffic. I live in that general vicinity between 164th and 178th on Sarah. And as far as trucks go, you can listen to the Jake brakes all day long at the intersection before they turn right and go north on Sarah. And they're tearing the heck out of it, and they always have. And I just don't see the wisdom doing chip and seal on Morgan Road, because Sarah hasn't lasted. And now we got the high school out there and all that, along with those trucks. I think we're just throwing good money after bad if we do chip and seal.
Well, and we're gonna have that school right there, and all that school traffic's gonna want to route
That's
around
what I'm
that
saying.
school, so they're gonna want to either go to Mustang or they're gonna want to go to
And they're not gonna
Morgan.
go to Mustang if they can help it, because south of Mustang on Oklahoma City side's junk.
Exactly, and we're gonna end up redoing Sarah at some point in the near future.
Is it?
And I met with Oklahoma City today, just for information to talk about Mustang Road and talk about 164th Street. They did pass the bond issue. That is on the bond issue. That 1 mile is on the bond issue. But it'll be honestly 3 to 4 years before they put out any, they're going to do widenings before they do anything else. I did appeal to them for Mustang Road based off of the school, that there would be an opportunity for them to make improvements even, but I didn't get honestly a whole lot of assistance. Now, we do have a very good relationship with the city councilman in that area. And so the two assistant public works directors who were here to talk to us about our issues, which I really appreciate them coming out to do that, are looking for a plan where we can share for repairs on 164th Street, and then also to look at Mustang Road as far as what they can do, because it will be a while without something changing on that bond. It will be several years before they get to that.
All right, let's get back to item G.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, one comment on item G, before there's any motions. I know when I first ran for council back in 2011. And I did a lot of door knocking. Yeah, that far back, Mark. And I was up there in that neighborhood around Matt Drive and off Morgan Road and other homes up through there, and they were all wondering, when's Morgan Road gonna get finished? When's Morgan Road gonna get paved? And I would really like to see it get done in asphalt since we have this money for it.
I live on that drive. No, you can't talk. Make a motion.
So I would like to move that we do the asphalt solution
Hold
on
on.
Morgan Road.
Hold on real quick. There are some errors in the project agreement. It says like Oklahoma City. And I'm not sure if the interlock number is correct. So whenever we do a motion, we need to make sure and get those corrected in that project agreement.
I move that the Scribner's errors get corrected and that we execute the agreement to do the asphalt cost for Morgan Road.
I second that.
Jonathan,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Byron, Ron,
Aye.
and Rob.
Aye.
I have no new business at this time.
None.
So without objection, I'd like to leave the city council meeting and reconvene or go to the PMA meeting, page 91.
A little chilly. Can we turn the heat back on?
Without objection, I'd like to use the roll call from the city council meeting for the roll call for the PMA. Item 3, consent agenda. Rob, do you want to pull anything?
No, sir.
Jonathan,
No.
Matt,
Nope.
Byron,
No.
Ron,
No.
make it a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda, items A, B, and C.
Second.
Ron,
Aye.
Byron,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Jonathan,
Aye.
Rod.
Aye.
I do not have any citizen comments for this meeting. Item 6A, presentation and discussion regarding OWRB projects and schedule.
I hope to be brief.
I am so sorry.
You're
I was
fine.
not paying attention or I would have skipped through there and got you back home.
Don't worry about it. I was hiding behind the camera.
He says, don't worry about it. I get paid by the hour. Put me at the last. It don't matter.
I'm Robert Mullins with SRB. Oh, are we on?
Should be on.
We're warming up.
Oh, I see. Okay. Hello?
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right, sorry. All right, so this is just the monthly update and real quick, the projects, 01, the water distribution improvements, the elevated storage tank, and then the re-drilling, the water wells, the secondary connection to Oklahoma City, and then just other water services, which is another water line and some pump station. And then the prep grant, which is a different funding source, but we've got it on the agenda anyway, and then the 2 wastewater projects. So that's basically the overview, sorry. And here's where we're at on the first one. We're coordinating with the valve reps for InsertaValve, and I believe that's next on your agenda to get that equipment and those valves so we can go out into the distribution system and everywhere we want to put these flow meters so we can monitor flow. If we need to cut in valves, we'll have all the equipment we need right then. The issues with InsertaValve really are that the valves cost a little more. The biggest problem is there's like 2 people in the state that do them. Last time we did them here, we got a guy from Denton that did it, charged us right at $15,000. So getting the equipment will give your people the opportunity to respond to emergencies and have a lot of flexibility. It is a sole source contract. They are basically the only company that makes this. There is another company that makes something similar, but in our opinion, they're not ready for prime time. And then there's a bunch of little companies that don't even try to compete. And so they are the standard bearer, and they're the ones that do it.
And the price of, the installation covers training for and certification up to 5 of your employees. As many people can train, but only 5 can get certified. And then on the 1 million-gallon tank, where I thought we'd have a DEQ permit, we paid the permit fee twice. So they can't say they don't have the money. And then the water well improvements, we did the presentation last time. We're going forward with the design. We're working with Spiros to divvy up the work. Basically, everything downhole will be them design and them do the quality control on it. Everything above ground and any water lines that connect will be on SRB, and then SRB will bid the contract. And so we're looking at redrilling one and then rehabbing one. And really the low hanging fruit is getting the rehab. We can go in there, get it cleaned up. And we just got to talk about the mechanisms of how to do that. Looks like it's going to be close to $100,000. So be safe. We'd better bid it out. We just want to make sure we get a good questionnaire, because all well service companies are not created equal. And we want to make sure that we don't get somebody that doesn't do the job or makes it worse.
Are you bidding it out one well at a time, or are you gonna package up like all 3 of them?
One well at a time. We'll do the rehab on 3, but then the other well will be a complete redrill. So it'll be a complete different process. And then once we get a well on, then we can go back and evaluate well 4, which right now is your best functioning well. So we assume that we're gonna find something downhole that's favorable. And then the secondary connection to Oklahoma City, we're at 60%. Those plans have been submitted to DEQ. We're waiting on the wholesale water agreement, and they have a policy A where they pay the upsize on that. So they'll have to get all those agreements together. Additional water services, we're acquiring the project. That water line is at 60%. And once we get that done, then we can get the water line in. Also, that additional little pump station will be part of that project. And then the prep grant, again, that's what's going to take it down Piedmont Road to the industrial park area.
Hey, Robert.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, real quick question on dash 005.
Yes.
That booster pump station, you guys identified the need for that back when you did the update to the water master plan
Yes.
back in 2024. Is that right? Okay. You think that will have any effect on the water pressure at Cimarron Road and Waterloo Road?
Cimarron Road and Waterloo Road. No.
Okay, thank you.
Because that's, when we're done, that's going to be governed by the West Tower.
Thanks.
Okay, and then the prep grant, that's at DEQ. And so as soon as that goes and that money's ready to be spent. And then the sanitary sewer, they've updated your GIS map. And I don't know if you're aware, when we got your GIS map, we had manhole kind of locations, but we had no depths, no invert elevation. So it wasn't a lot of useful data. We've done the smoke testing, we've done everything, and they've completed, looks like about 75% of all the cammering. They are reviewing the closed circuit TV, and that is a grueling job. I'm glad I'm not doing it, because every foot of your sewer line is getting looked at. And then the wastewater and hydraulic model, they've drafted a report, and they've met with the city and talked about future plans, and they're just carrying on. So basically, everything's going the way it should be. On the next one to be permitted, we believe will be the tower. I'm supposed to have my electrical engineering in by tomorrow or Wednesday, and then we'll be ready to go.
So I just want to make a clarification on project 25-005. He said industrial area. That's a bad word right now. So it's actually going down south of 164th, just past Williams.
Right.
Then we'll bore across the road to get to the west side of town. So it's more for the commercial area on the south end of town. Just want to make that clarification.
Thank you. I don't want to be on the wrong end of that argument. And then the rest of it's just timelines, and we're right in the middle of our timelines where we should be, we believe.
When did those start, all those timelines?
Way back.
Way back.
In 05.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
They're the same timelines they've been.
Long before we got.
Can I ask one question? What is that extra line under wastewater master plan?
I have
On
no
the-
idea.
On the display? It's been there for like 4 months and it just, my OCD, it just gets to me every single time.
I will get
And I
that
don't know what it
corrected.
is, but it's there.
Said
I have
budget
no
Microsoft
idea what that
projects.
is.
It's really interesting you asked that because it was up there just for you to ask that question.
Thank you.
And then on our budgets, we're well within everywhere we're supposed to be on budgets.
Yeah, for our design.
And then construction, all we've really done is the SSCS. Everything else is just about to blow up on you.
So I think it's important, Robert, if you go back one slide, you'll start seeing through the design projects, the percentages where we are currently at through the design process. A lot of these go through DEQ reviews, right? So they're given what, 45-day timeline there. And then after that, there's other review requirements. There's a 30%, 60%, 90% plan reviews that the city does as well before we have to go out to bid. So as you see the yellow bars fill up with the blues, then you're going to start seeing the construction side go up. So for people who are watching and paying attention to the charts, you'll kind of get an idea of where we are in the process based off of where we are on the design chart versus when construction is going to start. So,
Yep. And when we get to about 60%, that's typically when we're ready to bid.
yeah.
And so you can see where the tower's at 45. Next time you get your bill, it'll be time to bid.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item B, discussion, consideration, and possible action to allow the PMA manager to enter into a purchase agreement and be granted signatory authority for closing on the property located at northwest corner of intersection of Mustang Road and Washington Avenue. This is for the booster tank.
Correct.
Anybody have any questions on this?
No, buying for $50,000.
It's about a third of an acre.
Yeah.
From the description.
Yep. I think it's cheap considering it's a corner lot.
I think so. I think if you went and bought a third of an acre lot somewhere else, you'd pay.
Yep.
I bet you'd pay 50,000.
And it's right there for our pipe, so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Make a motion.
Move to approve the acquisition of the property at the northwest corner of Mustang Road and Washington for the booster pump station.
Second.
Rob,
Aye.
Byron,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Ron,
Aye.
and Jonathan.
Aye.
Item C, discussion, consideration, possible action to allow the PMA manager to enter into a contract with Hydro Shop LLC to purchase equipment and training in the amount of $110,410.
Yeah, so as you heard in the presentation, it cost us about $15,000 to have this company come up from Texas. A lot of times when we have a water break, the frustration that we encounter is these the shutoff valves were installed 50 years ago, and so they're failing. So when we have a water line break out in the community, it's very hard for us to isolate, to be able to be timely with the repair. A lot of times the guys are fighting against the water. They've got several pumps, pumping the water out of the hole at the time. This will give us an opportunity to go into our system and be able to install several valves that gives our public works guys the opportunity to isolate valves or isolate leaks when we need to, or certain areas when we're installing either fire hydrants. So again, $110,000. I mean, the cost benefit is just with the amount we have 14 flow meters we need to install. Each flow meter is going to have a valve on each side of that. So you do the math. I mean, it's going to be a tremendous cost savings, and not only that, but a frustration savings of on our citizens as well.
Question, so this equipment will allow us to be able to work on multiple line sizes from
Up to
up to 12 inch? Okay.
Yeah.
And are there additional parts that we'll have to acquire, or will we have some parts on hand?
By the valve.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so in addition to the 110,000, we'll have to buy a few valves of various sizes to have them on hand? Okay. Okay. Just in case when we have a break or something like that, and we can't, isolate, we need to go out and install a valve.
And this is a hot tap, right? You don't have to
It's a
shut
hot
any.
tap valve, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so you, right, okay.
Yeah. and then
Which is which is the main advantage, one of the main advantages to the.
Up to 150 PSI,
Yeah.
so it'll cover anything you've got in your
Yeah,
system.
yeah, great, okay. Just asking some questions so for the benefit of the public.
Yep, thank
more or less, so.
So it's the equipment and training and 5 certifications, right?
Yes.
Well, since there is always turnover, what happens if we have to retrain people and recertify?
We're gonna chain them to the InstaValve
Well,
machine.
Is there a process for that? Is there the ability to, or are we training ourselves, or like?
I mean, there's an opportunity. I mean, we're certified 5, but we can train everybody. And so obviously as new folks come on board, just like Craig is doing, there'll be more opportunities for that training, just like we have with our jetter. So anytime somebody comes on board, there's a training process that they go through, and this will be just an additional piece of equipment they get trained on.
Gotcha. And just from my understanding, if we're having to cut in a valve, are we still going to be killing the neighborhoods, or like you said something about hot tapping? or
Hot
something?
tapping. So water will still flow, but now you're inserting the valve. I mean, there may be a slight delay in there. I mean, but I wouldn't see very, I mean, you're not talking hours versus.
So like when we're repairing brakes and we're shutting off neighborhoods for hours at a time, that's not going to happen anymore?
Trying to minimize that.
You want to
Yeah,
answer that?
there's still gonna be impacts. It's
If
just
we have
gonna
a break,
But
we're gonna
what
be able to
what
isolate.
it'll do is it'll give you the ability to cut in a valve right there, so you don't have to go back a mile or 2 valves to find a valve that works.
So shut down the whole town, you
Yeah.
shut down that neighborhood.
Okay, yeah.
Because right now, we can't find valves, so we have to shut down the whole town
the-
on some things.
Well,
The
that's what I'm
hot
trying to-
tap statement is, yes, water continues to flow. The valves are actually set up in 3 parts. You have the collar, you have the valve, and you have a cartridge. And so once you get the valve set and you cut what they call a puck or,
It's a hole saw.
take that out, then the cartridge actually controls that flow to where you then can shut down and isolate that line. And I'll give you just a couple for instance, because we've had 2 water breaks in the last week. Both of them have had valves to isolate those lines, and they were fixed within a couple hours. Where when we had a 10-inch break where we didn't have a valve, you're talking about half a day or more. And so the ability to be able to isolate and control the flow of that will limit the requirement of, you say, shutting down a residential area. We can control that a whole lot better with these type of valves.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion?
Move to approve, item C, purchase of the Hydro Shop LLC equipment.
Second.
Jonathan,
Aye.
Byron,
Aye.
Ron,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
I don't have any new business on this meeting as well.
I have none.
Without objection, I'd like to leave the PMA and reconvene to the city council. City manager's report.
Where to begin?
I think that's your cue too.
Was that my heart monitor?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that many people knew where City Hall was, but I'm glad that they came and I'm glad that they
Absolutely.
participated in the process. It's exciting to see the amount of involvement our community is starting to have in our governmental process. I want to say congratulations to Byron and Rob for signing up for another $35 a month for the next 3 years. You guys are doing a great job. It's a thankless job, but thank you for all that you do and your time and effort for doing it. And congratulations to our Piedmont Police Department for achieving their accreditation. I don't know if you all heard the stat, but there's over 600 agencies, and then 48 of those are accredited. Ours is one of those. And of the small communities, there's only 7. We are number 7. That's a great number, by the way. So congratulations to our Piedmont Police Department for achieving that. Although they're getting accredited, they have received their accreditation, and it's just a confirmation of what they've been doing. And so I'm just glad that OA, LCP, XYZ. No offense to those guys. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but I really am glad that that organization recognizes communities, especially our law enforcement officers that are doing the right things and training and staying on top of serving their communities in a faithful manner. Next week is Public Recognition Week, International Firefighters Day, and Municipal Clerks Week. And so watch our social media page. We will be highlighting our various departments that serve you day in and day out. And I know that there's some fun things that they're going to do for that. So just please share, like our page, follow our page. We're like the rest of you all. We like to see the heart emojis and the thumbs up. Not very much so the angry faces and the sad faces, but surely what we do next week will be more hearts and thumbs up. Transparency and process. I challenge you to find another municipality in the state of Oklahoma that's more transparent than the city of Piedmont is. Our records requests have been reviewed by our city attorney. Those will be posted online. The presentation that was here tonight will be posted online. Everything we have dealing with the status center will be online. Everything else, governmental wise, you'll find online. Go to our website. It's there. And if you can't find it on our website, please call City Hall. We have great staff that will help you find it. And somebody turned my mic up on that one. And then, we just approved another mile of road to get done. That will make 48 miles of roads in almost 5 years. Again, I challenge you to go find another community like Piedmont in the state of Oklahoma that's accomplished that. I made a promise to my staff and to this council when I took the job and to OMAG, because we were one of the worst offenders for tort claims for vehicles, that we would go from worst to first in a good way. And we've achieved that. So that's a testament to what we're trying to do for the community, what you gentlemen do day in and day out, and what our staff does to maintain our roadway. So without that, what you want? What? We can't talk about that yet, sir. But we do have exciting news coming forward, and it's pretty significant. In the multi-million dollars, stay tuned, ...
With all that being said, I adjourn this meeting.
I think you have the wrong impression about me.